Hello and welcome to the first session of our iconic FIFA World Cup match series. Today is the anniversary of this iconic match. Around 20 years ago, on June 25th, 2006, in Nuremberg, Germany, Portugal faced the Netherlands and created this nostalgic match for all of us. We are going to use TV broadcast tracking data provided by a skill corner to have a data-driven look into this game and try to see what we can learn about formations and positions. So when we look into the starting lineups for that match on TV, on the FIFA TV channel on YouTube, you just see the starting 11 players' name, but there is nothing about the formation that they played back in 2006. In that World Cup, apparently for this match, we don't have that information. So what I did, just try to find a public source like Transfermarkt to see what was the starting lineup formation for each team. Here you can see for the Netherlands, they have it as 4-3-3 attacking. And for Portugal, they call it 4-3-3 defending. I think the only main difference is really that for Portugal, they have it with two, let's say, defensive midfielders, number 6 and 18. But for the Netherlands, they only have it with one single defensive midfielder, number 20. We are going to use the TV broadcast tracking data provided by Skill Corner, where you can see on the right side for each player and the ball, you have the coordinates 10 frames per second. Given that it's the data is generated from the TV broadcast, you also see the green area showing the view of the television at that moment. For the approach that we are going to apply to learn about the formations and positions, we will rely on what has been, let's say, documented in my PhD thesis, identification of team tactical formations and player positions in association football, which you can find it publicly available. So the idea simply is that for each frame of one team, we look for the outfield players, the 10 outfield players, in this case shown from bottom to top. We impose a graph representation, which we call a check graph, and color the players where the vertical colors from dark blue to dark red tell you the vertical, let's say, orientation of the player. And the horizontal colors that we have are from dark brown to dark green. That tells you whether the player is to the left center, right center, or right. For example, if we look at this player who has been, let's say, labeled to be the left center forward, the reason is that he has the dark red color for the upper half semicircle that translates to the front line in the vertical channels. And for the horizontal channels, you can see the light brown that translates to left center, and front line is the left center forward that you have seen for him. So what we can do with these graphs, we can just report the average, let's say, or frequent shake graphs that you can see on the left side when the match was in play for the Netherlands. The coordinates of the players are simply the average locations. And yeah, I think based on what you can see here, it seems like a 4-3-3 with a single defensive midfielder, number 20. Let's see if we use phase of play in position and out of position, whether that makes it clear to give us a clear picture or not. I think we can say that it really doesn't make that much difference. Of course, in position, the teams play more wide, out of position, more compact, but the overall setup of 4-3-3 doesn't really change. Let's compare that with what Transfermarkt had. I think we can argue that it's more or less the same, but the only main difference is that on Transfermarkt, you have number 18 to be the left of the midfield three, while in this case, you can see 8 was the left of the midfield 3. So you need to basically change the positions of players 18 and 8 in what you have seen on Transfermarkt to get what you see from the tracking data. But there is one issue with these averages, and that becomes more clear when you look into them for Portugal. You can see how that averages look like for the frequent shake graphs when the match was in play. And even when we use the phase of play, that really doesn't make a difference, doesn't really help. You have these players who are, let's say, kind of glued to each other, number 17, number 20, number 5, number 16. And when we compare that to what you have in Transfermarkt, you can maybe say that it's, maybe a bit kind of confusing because number 17 here is playing on the right and Transfermarkt is on the left. So maybe it's something similar to what we saw for the Netherlands. But you can see number 20 and 17 are really kind of in close proximity of each other. So it seems this is an issue with taking the averages, because if, for example, number 17 is playing around 10 minutes of the match as a right winger, and then the next 10 minutes he's playing as a left winger, you take the average, he's going to be close to the center of the pitch. And maybe that's why we see this, let's say, case here. So try to going one step deeper. We are going to use position maps, where for a player of interest, we said that for each frame, we have 25 tactical positions that this player can get assigned to. So we can compute over the match time when the game was in play, what was the probability of different positions that he has, let's say, been occupying based on the coloring that we have done. So for Luis Figo, the legendary Portuguese player, number 7, around 30% of the time he was observed to be as a left forward, around 20% left wing forward, around 7% left midfielder, and also 7% left center forward. You can see he also was around 9-10% as a right forward. And this is how we can profile his, let's say, position tendency over the match time. And if we, let's say, take all these position maps for the starting 11 players, or to be correct, the starting 10 players of Portugal, because we don't do it for the goalkeepers, and arrange them according to the layout you have on Transfermarkt, this is the picture you get and end up with. So looking into the players in the back line, you can say number 14, Transfermarkt says he was left back. Here we can argue also left back is a good position for him because he spent around 52-53% in the left back cell that we have in our 5x5 grid. For number 5 and number 16, I think this is exactly also what we saw with them to be really glued to each other, is that they were switching sides a lot in the right center back and left center back. So they were occupying these left center back, and right center back with a high probability. So that's why it could be, let's say, difficult to say whether one of them was a dedicated left center back or another one was a right center back. But we can argue that these two were the center back pairs for Portugal. And number 13 was the right back, so all is good here. It comes to number 6 and number 18. I think we can argue that number 6 was to the right based on this 5x5 grid. So what you have seen on transfer market, we need to change that, let's say, horizontal orientation. And number 18 was to the left and playing more forward. So it was kind of a double pivot, but one was more defensive than the other. Number 17, Cristiano Ronaldo, back then a young Cristiano Ronaldo. He spent around 22% in the right forward position, around 26% in the right wing forward, but also he has spent some time in the left cells, as you can see. But maybe it's better that we put him as a right winger, and Luis Figo should come to the left wing. So that's also another change we need to make. Deco, the Portuguese Deco, he spent around 21% in the right attacking midfield, around 15% in the left attacking midfield, and around 10% in the right center forward. Maybe attacking midfield would, let's say, choice for him, and also number 9 center forward based on his, let's say, probability map seems to be a good choice. So we can say 4-2-3-1, or what transfer market is calling 4-3-3 defending, is a good choice if we make these horizontal changes that we mentioned, number 17 with 7, number 6 with number 18. Let's create a similar visualization, but for the Netherlands. I think here you can also argue that the backline is more or less following what we have in a transfer market. For midfield, it's really difficult to say this was a single defensive midfield setup, because number 20, number 18, and number 8 were really occupying a lot of different, let's say, vertical channels from the defensive midfield, and attacking midfield. But what we can be sure is that number 8 was playing to the left, and number 18 was playing to the right. So here maybe we can say it's a 4-3-3, where number 8 should be left, 18 right, and 20 center. But as you can see, they were really flexible in how they were moving and changing their positions. When it comes to the front line, I think the only noticeable difference is that number 17 was dropping more than number 11, who was going more inwards. So and that's the only, let's say, difference we can observe between Arjen Robben, Robben van Persie, and you had number 7 as a center forward. So this is how we can, let's say, describe this overall setup of each team if you want to only use maybe one formation label. But this match, as you saw, we saw around 4 red cards and 16 yellow cards. And for sure, that should have had an impact on the setup of each team over the match time. So to try to understand how that has changed over the course of the game, we are going to use this coloring scheme again. We pick a player like Cristiano Ronaldo. Based on the coloring that we do for each in-play frame, we can just visualize the time series. You can clearly see here he started the match on the front line, attacking midfield, based on the vertical colors. But the horizontal colors, in the beginning of the match, it was a dark brown. Dark brown means he was to the left. So left forward, left wing forward is how he started the match until this moment, which we don't know what has happened here. It's something that we can maybe check in the video. He has moved to the right. I can maybe here just guess. If you have watched the match, you know that he had a very, let's say, intense battle with the right back of the Netherlands. It was a clash, and maybe that's why he has moved his position after that from the left wing to the right wing to just avoid facing that player because of the nasty tackle that he had on him. Okay, going to this change that we can clearly see here, Cristiano Ronaldo was on the right forward, right wing forward, until the first gap that has a dot inside it. The gap means the Portugal made a substitution, and the dot means number 17, Cristiano Ronaldo, was taken out because of injury, if you check the video of the match. And number 11 comes on as a substitution. Number 11 keeps playing as a right wing forward, right wing forward for Portugal, until another gap you can see in the time series, another substitution for Portugal. And after that, after some, let's say, minutes after that, number 11 moves to the left channel. Left forward is probably where he was mainly playing. Again, he comes back to the right. At some point, he goes back to the left. And that's how you can visualize and see which moments of the match he was changing and switching the sides on, let's say, as a winger. So if we stack all these time series for each starting player from Portugal shown on the left and the potential substitutions on the right, this is, let's say, like a CT scan picture that we can end up with for Portugal. And we can now understand and read how the match, let's say, developed. Clearly a back 4. You can see number 13, the right back. 5 and 16 were, as we saw, changing between right center back and left center back. So just to be sure, they were the center back pairs, and number 14, the left back. So that's more or less the back 4 that stayed over the whole match. You can see you had the halftime substitutions, and more or less that's it. There is some moments of the match that number 13 was really on the front line, but overall back 4, how Portugal started the game. Number 6 was that, let's say, the one of the double pivots who was playing more defensive. And as you saw also in the highlight clip, he received a second yellow card and basically the red card because of the handball. And after that, he was not on the game. So that's why you can see the time series is discontinued. And that's how also our approach here can handle cases that there is a red card, basically. So number 18 was, let's say, the offensive double pivot, and number 20 was the attacking midfield. Number 17 starting the match as a left wing, and number 7 was the right wing, Luis Figo. You can see they were basically changing and switching the sides until the first substitution moment where Cristiano Ronaldo was taken out because of the injury, and number 11, Simao Saprosha, comes in as a replacement to just continue what Cristiano was doing. What is interesting here to see is that you can clearly see the reaction of the coaching staff to red cards. Number 6 was taken, well, basically was sent off, and now Portugal's coaching staff needs to fill in that midfield line. So they bring in number 8 by taking one of their forward players, number 9, out, bringing number 8. As you can see, his colors represents him to be that, let's say, defensive midfielder. He's going to kind of continue what Coutinho was doing for Portugal. And then again, there is another red card for Portugal. Deco, as we saw also in the clips, received a second yellow card, red card. And yeah, we can maybe argue that the reaction to this comes with the substitution. You can see here with number 19 replacing number 7. So if we want to just put a label on how the match, Portugal started the match, we can say 4-2-3-1, how they went to the pitch. The red card came in, they made a substitution, kind of they now changed to something that maybe we call 4-1-2-2. And in the end, another red card, and also the substitution that they make, maybe 4-1-2-1. That's how you can describe Portugal's, let's say, overall formation evolvement in this game. Looking to the Netherlands, this is the picture we end up with. They also received 2 red cards. Looking into the back 4, you can see number 3, the right back, 13, the right center back, 4, the left center back, and 5, the left back. Number 18, 20, and 8 were the midfield 3. And as you can see, their coloring clearly tells us that they were really moving between different vertical channels, defensive midfield, midfield, and attacking midfield. 17 was the right wing, 11 was the left wing, Figo and Robben, and 7 was the center forward. I think we really don't see any particular change apart from what I described right now until the first substitution. Even they don't react clearly to the opponent's red card in terms of changing positions. Maybe the first reaction that we may argue comes with the substitution of taking the defender out, number 4, and bringing number 10. If even you don't know his name, you know from the coloring that he appeared in a lot of light red color. So that tells you he was coming to really this attacking midfield, but also because of the gray colors of the midfield line. So we can say the Netherlands went to the pitch with a 4-3-3. Here they moved to a 3-4-3, knowing that the opponent is 1 man down, so they also wanted to take advantage of that. But it didn't really last long for them because number 3, the right back, was sent off, and that's what you can see, the time series is discontinued. So again, they need to bring a right back to fill in that gap. So they take one of their, let's say, midfielder players, number 18, out. Number 14 comes in to fill in the vacant right back position. So here, kind of, they are moving back, let's say, to a 3-4-3, taking one of the midfielders out, but still they want to go, let's say, offensive. So they don't want to play with the back 4 as initial. They go with the back 3, and also the opponent receiving another red card that you can see here with these vertical lines and having the red, let's say, card on top. These are the moments Portugal, the opponent team, is receiving the red card. So this also helps that the opponent is going even 1 more than you down. So another clear reaction, bringing a forward player instead of one of the midfield players. So we can say they moved to a 3-2-4 until around the end of the match. You see number 5, the time series a bit shorter than the others because the last few minutes he was sent off. And maybe it's really difficult to say what was the arrangement even the last few minutes, so we just kind of ignored that. But that's the overall picture we can use to describe Netherlands' formation involvement from 4-3-3 to 3-4-3 to 3-3-3 to 3-2-4. I think this match was a really great example to demonstrate how we can handle red cards. Having a match with 4 red cards and each team getting 2 red cards, I think it was a really, really good example that we just saw together. And it was also interesting to travel back in time around 20 years ago to see how this match that was known as the Battle of Nuremberg has, let's say, developed based on these interactions. I think that's it for today. And if you are interested in the next iconic match that we want to cover, you can head to my LinkedIn page and find the post that I talked about these specific series of iconic matches. And that's it. And have a nice day and evening ahead.